Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Iman Hakimi bin Muhammad Zamri. Today, my friend Shawani, Shauki, Izati and Salma will present about the difference between conventional banking and Islamic banking, and also how to promote Islamic banking, while also presenting about the reason why Islamic banking is for everyone based on the ESG principle. So first of all, Islamic banking has become one of the most important alternative financial form in the financial world. There is an ever-increasing demand among Muslims for Sharia or Islamic law compliant financial products and services. Thus, the basic principle of Islamic banking is that it should not contain any interest component and that the risk should be shared between the bank and the customer based on the principle of profit and loss sharing. Islamic banking is not a new phenomenon. Its principle were practiced during the time of the Prophet Muhammad SAW, and Islamic principle with creativity and innovation have become the guidelines for Islamic banking institutions to meet the financing need of both Muslim and non-Muslim. To start off, in the 20th century, Cash Wakaf was considered the first bank in the Islamic world. It provides credit to numerous borrowers by applying the concept of istiqlal, which is selling and buying asset, usually the borrower's house. It is endowed by a single wealthy person. Later, there were sunduk at-tawhir issued arising from the fact that the saving fund yielded a fixed interest rate. The rate was set by Caliph Abbas II. 3,000 depositors refused to accept the interest, and the case was brought to Mufti Muhammad Abdul. The money then went to the Istiqlal approach. However, later in 1963, the founder, Dr. Ahmad Al-Nagar, which is considered as the father of the Islamic Bank, established Midgama, a bank in a rural town in Egypt, the Nile Delta. The foundation for modern Islamic banking was thus successfully laid. Through the influence of the Assad model, deposits were guaranteed by third parties provided by the bank. Saving account holders received no interest but were entitled to small short-term free loans. Dr. Al-Naga wanted to introduce the saving culture in Egypt. A person is considered eligible for a loan if he or she can show reliable savings. In 1966, an unexpected success occurred. Saving deposit increased from 25,000 to 125,000 Egyptian pounds. The investment account also increased from 35,000 to 75,000, and then the two-type murabahah was introduced. However, because of the change in the political atmosphere in Egypt, the bank was later closed. Despite the closing of the bank, in 1971, Nasir Social Islamic Bank was then established. It was the first Islamic bank in an urban environment in Cairo. It provided interest-free loans for small projects on a profit-loss sharing basis and assist poor and needy students with higher education. The capital came from extra budgetary fund from the state budget. I will pass to the next presenter.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. So I will talk about the difference of conventional and Islamic banking. As we know, conventional banking is a type of financial institution that provides service like accepting deposit, making business loans and offering basic investment product, and that deals with interest. Meanwhile, Islamic banking is based on Islamic principle or known as Sharia. Basically, in Islamic banking, it is not allowed to pay and receive interest, but rather it is based on profit sharing. Islamic banks also focus on generating returns on investment through investment tools that are Sharia compliant. It should be noted that the basic difference between Islamic banking and conventional banking is the structure of how the bank is set up. For conventional banking, it has only one mode of financing for its customer, and that is loan. Not to mention, the major financial objective of the conventional banking system is to achieve maximization of the shareholder wealth through interest differential. In Islamic banking, the setup is linked end-to-end, resulting in sharing of actual returns arising from a Sharia-compliant financing or investment activity. Besides, we need to know that not all fees can be charged and not all features can be used in Islamic banking. Also, any investment involving items or substances that are forbidden in the Quran, including alcohol, gambling, and pork, are also prohibited. In this way, Islamic banking can be considered a culturally distinct form of ethical investing. Furthermore, conventional banks identify currency or money as commodity. Thus, they cannot trade and make profit of it by renting the money for interest and selling the money on interest. However, in Islamic banking, it doesn't recognize money as commodity and deem the money as a mode of exchange. Thus, it does not sell or rent money for profit because charging money over money in a debt contract is called interest or riba. On the other hand, they may rent a fixed asset or sell a Sharia-compliant asset to a customer for a profit. Third point is risk sharing. In conventional bank, it only offers debt to customer because the contract of debt doesn't have any risk other than risk of default by the borrower. So in this case, they do not share any risk with their customer, and all because the financial risk is borne by the customers. Despite this, Islamic banks have participatory modes like musyarakah and mudarabah. So in other words, both are partnership and by default means sharing of profit as per agreed ratio and sharing of loss as per investment ratio. Therefore, Islamic banks do share risk with customers in such modes. In case of trade-based modes like murabahah, salam and istisna, Islamic banks bear the risk of the commodity before selling it to the customer. Similarly, in the ijarah-based mode, the ownership of the asset truly lies with the bank as they bear any risk in case of complete loss. So that's all from me. I'll pass the next presentation to my friends.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. For the next part, I Izzati will explain how to promote Islamic banking products. First of all, depending on religion alone is not effective in attracting customers. It is a fact that non-Muslim customers will also use Islamic banks if they find that the service is good and meets their expectation. So, Islamic banks should compete with conventional banks by formulating and implementing successful marketing strategies in which a key ingredient is a clear understanding of the behavior, attitudes, and perceptions of the clients. This is achieved through identifying behavior profiles, encompassing banking habits, selection criteria used by target markets, risk tolerance level, awareness, preference, and usage pattern of various Islamic bank products. By doing so, customers will be loyal to a product if they have no complaint about the product or if they are satisfied with the product. Moreover, customer will be satisfied and will not complain if their expectation about the quality and the value of the product match with their own experience when they use the product. This means that it is important for the Islamic banks to understand the expectation of their customer. So basically, the Islamic banks should know the value and quality expected by the customers from the bank. Moving on to the next point, which is that Islamic banks should convey credibility and experience. Similar to conventional banks, Islamic banks should aim to convince customers of their investment experience. An inexperienced customer seeking a way to invest his or her savings strongly appreciate evidence of credibility and past investment performance. So, Islamic banks need to describe clearly and convince that their product is reliable. For example, Kuwait Finance House offers an investment product called Junior Gold Account I, which is suitable for kids. On their website itself, it states all the benefit and that the customer will earn, and all terms and conditions is well explained. Like with KFH Junior Gold Account I, customers can conveniently start buying gold for their child's future. In addition to that, it also states that with only a 5 gram initial investment, customers can open an account. So by doing so, customer will see that it is worth trusting. Therefore, Islamic Bank should convince customers that their products are reliable. So, such marketing techniques would draw customers and pique their interest to start investing in Islamic banking product. So, for the next point, I will pass to my group members. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. Next, I'm going to present about the reasons Islamic banking is for everyone in environment, social and governance principle. First, I'm going to explain the definition of ESG principle. Environmental, social, and governance investing refers to a set of criteria for a company's conduct that socially responsible investors use to evaluate possible investments. Environmental criteria take into account a company's environmental protection efforts, such as corporate climate change policies. The management of relationships with customers, suppliers, employees, and the community in which it operates is examined under the social criteria. Leadership, executive composition, audit, internal control, and shareholder rights are all topics covered by the governance. Okay, in theory, Islamic finance products like Sharia-compliant sukuk bonds or wakaf, also known as endowment, funds could enter the portfolio of ESG-hungry investors worldwide thanks to a market convergence, giving Islamic banking institution a growing share of what is expected to become one of the largest and possibly the dominant investment sector of the future. Islamic finance and ESG investment are complementary, capitalizing and investment strategies that share similar values, such as the need to be good stewards of society and the environment. Both have excellent procedures and rules that they can both learn from, with many more parallels than difference, and both offer good that cater to both Muslim and non-Muslim investors. Conventional investment products are also subject to certain of the typical practices. Next, I'm going to share the reason why Islamic banking is for everyone in terms of environmental principle. A wide range of impact measurement used in ESG investing have a similar focus on long-term risk reduction and also intended to minimize harm. The ESG approach, however, is more comprehensive and includes environmental scores such as gender and diversity, human rights and labor standards, in addition to environmental score to measure and control carbon emission, pollution, waste and biodiversity. For instance, even if the item or services show historically increasing profitability and volumetric sales, it can anticipate that they will be phased out over the forecast horizon because of the environmental concerns, and cash flows would be adjusted appropriately. Fees associated with quitting an activity and regulatory costs may be taken into account in some circumstances. In expected cash flow, this incorporates environmental issue for the investing company. Investors also give a target company and environmental score. This score combines many data points and will tailored to the industry of the target company. As a result, the score enables comparison between peers in each sector as well as between sectors' environmental performance. For example, the resource efficiency ratio, the cost per unit of production, which is non-standardized in the industry, is a part of the environmental score. This enables investors to reward businesses that assure effective resource usage, thus advancing the cost of conservation. This business also have the potential for asymmetrical margin expansion, which can contribute to alpha production. In conclusion, Islamic finance and ESG investing are complementary capital raising and investment strategies that can share similar values, such as the need to be good stewards of society and environment. Both have solid practices and rules that can be learned from one another, share many more parallels than differences, and offer products that cater to both Muslim and non-Muslim investors. Next, I'm going to pass the next presentation to Shauki.
To the reason why Islamic banking is for everyone, which is not only for the Muslim. So regarding about the governance principle and the social principle, so first of all, it's about the governance principle. So the governance principle means that you need to have a legal certification which is necessary for the creation of Islamic transaction or the ESG transaction or ESG investment transaction. It means that for the Islamic banking transaction, we need to require have a fatwa by a Sharia advisor. And for the ESG institution transition, then there is a certain certification which can be called as a green one, which is called as a green certification. And then why is have a similarity between Islamic banking and ESG investment? So the minimal or the requirement for the Sharia compliance in the Islamic banking is already included in the ESG requirement. So in order for the Islamic banking to become the ESG compliance, they require some additional requirements to become an ESG compliance. It means that Islamic banking is already the fundamental of ESG compliance, just it requires additional information and additional requirement. So and then moving on to the social principle, which is it have a lot of similar fundamental moral and social technique. Why? So Islamic banking following the Islamic teaching, which is regarding with the first one, which is about Quran and Hadith, and it's focused on business ethics, the moral, the equality, the justice, and the both ESG investment and the Sharia or the Islamic banking transition have the main purpose, which is to avoid harm to both party, to all party, either the buyer or the seller, or either the investor or the or the customer. So Islamic banking following the Islamic rules mean that they're going to provide the fair wages, which is to all the employees, and then provide an operating ethical supply chain, and also avoid foreign labor, which is unnecessary for the environment of working. So but some criteria of ESG investment doesn't follow the Islamic rulings, which is Islam against of these things. For example, ESG investment support the LGBT rights, and also they support all the diversity in the company of employee, but the Islamic ruling that was against of the LGBT ruling because it is against of the Islamic ruling. And for about the social, the client and the practitioner does not have to be a Muslim in order to follow the ethical and the moral rules. So in order for you to use the Islamic banking or to have the Islamic banking product or transition, you need to follow the rules and the moral that have been set or been standardized by the Islamic teaching, even though either the client or the practitioner is not a Muslim.
Based on the point that was clearly stated by my friend just now, disparity between Islamic banking and conventional banking was obvious and very clear to be seen by the people. The difference in structure of Islamic bank made the product that was offered by Islamic bank comply with the Sharia ruling, thus removing any kind of riba in the transaction. Furthermore, in Islam, the currency is not considered as a commodity, thus making it prohibited to transact things like money or cash, and the money can only be used as a mode of exchange. Thus, a clear and concise way was needed to develop Islamic banking so that it can be more accepted and received by individuals in the society. By knowing and creating bond with its soon-to-be customer, an Islamic bank can gain insight of what are things that can help boost the number of customers to use Islamic banking products more as compared to conventional bank. By solely relying on religion, the people may not feel confident, but if the bank approach with something more beneficial to the customer, then it may be more appealing in the eye of the customer. Other than that, by conveying the strong feeling of reliability and dependability in every Islamic banking product, an investor may want to invest because of the safety of the investments was reassuring. Islamic banking was also banned for everyone as it complied with the ESG principle, which means to satisfy the customer needs while also making sure that the business ethics and transparency of data of the customer was safeguarded. By developing Islamic banking, people who follow Islamic teaching will have option to ease their life and make sure no riba or any kind of non-Sharia compliance involved in their daily life transaction. That's all from us. Thank you.